Scenario planning. Our brains understand visual information 60,000 times faster than auditory information. Difficult business and financial concepts in a quick and easy visual format. Follow our content and learn visually about important topics for your personal financial life. You would use it in your business, in your family, in your life, in your job. Read calmly each slides and take your own time. Live knowledge come in with serenity. If necessary, stop and give a visual overview in each slide mind map. At the end of each journey, visual presentation will increase your knowledge and wisdom. We appreciate your subscribe, like and share. It doesn't have costs and you help others to learn and ourselves to do our job. Thank you and go firmly do the end of the video. Scenario planning is a strategic management tool used for forecasting. It involves identifying factors that directly impact a business area and forecasting their development to create future scenarios. This approach helps in understanding potential events or combinations of events, ensuring businesses are prepared for various future possibilities.
Scenario analysis broadens decision-making through interdisciplinary cooperation, enhancing flexibility by linking strategies. It refines planning and suits nonprofits due to its versatility. However, it offers limited quantitative data, is time-consuming, and data acquisition can be challenging. Simplifying complexity may increase error risk. Scenario planning is a strategic method used to create flexible long-term plans. It adapts military intelligence techniques, combining facts like demographics and geography with political and industrial data. Analysts use simulation games to inform policymakers, integrating social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends to identify key driving forces. Scenario planning is a strategic method for flexible long-term planning, adapted from military intelligence. It involves simulation games for policymakers, combining demographics, geography, and key driving forces like social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends. Applications include political and economic decision-making, strategy development, crisis and project management, risk management, human resources planning, corporate development, and early opportunity detection. Scenario planning integrates known facts with social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends to create flexible long-term strategies. It aids in political, economic decision-making, crisis management, and corporate development. By simulating future scenarios, organizations can evaluate potential developments, manage risks, and detect opportunities for change, ensuring robust strategic planning. Scenario planning involves tasks like problem analysis, effects analysis, and trend projection. Identifying scenarios and developing phases are crucial. Evaluation follows, using scenario analysis procedures. This strategic planning method, adapted from military intelligence, helps organizations create flexible long-term plans by anticipating various future possibilities. Scenario planning involves identifying potential future scenarios through tasks like problem analysis, effects analysis, and trend projection. It includes developing and explaining phases, followed by evaluation. This strategic method, adapted from military intelligence, helps organizations create flexible long-term plans by analyzing various possible futures and preparing accordingly. Scenario planning integrates diverse viewpoints, fostering interdisciplinary cooperation. It predicts possible outcomes, clarifying potential solutions. This approach delineates complex situations, addressing challenges like participation, integration, and long-term perspectives. By doing so, it enhances strategic decision-making in modern finance. Scenario planning integrates diverse viewpoints, fostering interdisciplinary cooperation. It clarifies potential solutions by predicting outcomes, addressing challenges like participation, integration, and complexity. This approach delineates complex situations, offering a structured analysis of focal issues, parameters, and influencing factors, while investigating future trends and summarizing potential development paths. Identify and structure focal issues to set the foundation. Analyze by defining parameters and potential influencing factors. Prognosis involves investigating different future trends. Summarize potential paths of development to evaluate effectively. This scenario analysis procedure ensures comprehensive understanding and strategic planning in modern finance. Scenario planning and analysis involves identifying focal issues, analyzing parameters, and investigating future trends. It summarizes potential development paths and evaluates scenarios. This strategic method, adapted from military intelligence, uses simulation games for policymakers, combining demographics, geography, and key driving forces like social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. Scenario planning is a strategic method for creating flexible long-term plans. It adapts military intelligence techniques, using simulation games for policymakers. Analysts integrate demographics, geography, and resources with military, political, and industrial data, considering social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends to identify key driving forces. This approach helps organizations anticipate and navigate future uncertainties effectively. Scenario planning is a strategic method used to create flexible long-term plans by combining known facts with military, political, and industrial information. Analysts generate simulation games for policymakers, considering social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. This approach helps organizations adapt to changing circumstances by exploring various future scenarios and their potential impacts. Scenario planning involves defining scenarios by analyzing drivers of change and predicting alternative developments. It includes mapping scenarios, identifying stakeholders, and reducing factors to core elements. This strategic method, adapted from military intelligence, uses social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends to create flexible long-term plans, aiding policymakers through simulation games. Scenario planning involves defining objectives and control parameters, followed by environmental analysis to determine influencing factors. Scenarios are developed to create visions, which lead to alternatives for action. These actions are then implemented, forming a comprehensive scenario approach that guides strategic decision-making in dynamic environments. Scenario development begins with defining objectives and control parameters. Conduct an environmental analysis to identify influencing factors. Create and develop scenarios, then transfer them into a vision. From these visions, derive alternatives for action and implement necessary measures. This structured approach ensures comprehensive scenario planning and analysis. Scenario planning involves defining objectives and control parameters, conducting environmental analysis to identify influencing factors, and developing scenarios. These scenarios inform visions, which lead to actionable alternatives. Implementation of measures follows, ensuring a strategic approach to future uncertainties. This method, adapted from military intelligence, aids organizations in crafting flexible long-term plans. Scenario planning involves exploring internal and external perspectives, synthesizing insights, and choosing actions. It starts with a focal question, scans the fringe for uncertainties, and combines forces into scenario logic. Executives immerse in detailed scenario stories to rehearse the future, generating options and setting priorities. Monitoring involves identifying early indicators and maintaining ongoing dialogue. Scenario planning is a strategic method for creating flexible long-term plans. It involves exploring internal and external perspectives, synthesizing insights, and choosing actions. By monitoring and orienting around uncertainties and driving forces, organizations can rehearse future opportunities and risks, generating options and setting priorities. This process is ongoing, fostering dialogue and adaptation. Identify certain and uncertain drivers of change over a selected timeframe. Define a focal question to guide the analysis. Develop scenarios based on these drivers and create storylines to assess adaptation options. Identify and test existing and new strategies against these scenarios, producing a synthesis or action plan. This involves both research teams and stakeholders. Scenario planning involves identifying certain and uncertain drivers of change, defining focal questions, and developing scenarios. It assesses adaptation options, tests strategies, and produces action plans. This approach is crucial for organizations to navigate future uncertainties by integrating research and stakeholder insights into strategic planning. Scenario planning is a strategic method for creating flexible long-term plans. It adapts military intelligence techniques, combining demographics, geography, and resources with social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends. Analysts use simulation games to inform policymakers, integrating known facts with key driving forces to anticipate future scenarios and guide decision-making. Scenario planning is a strategic method used to create flexible long-term plans by combining known facts with key driving forces. It involves generating simulation games for policymakers, considering social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. This process helps organizations anticipate future developments and prepare for various potential outcomes. Conduct seminars and interviews to gather insights on societal, political, and technological developments. Identify diverse contributors, categorize information, and prioritize ideas. Create visions of alternative futures, detailing influencing factors, risks, and effects. Identify early warning signs. Reevaluate scenarios. Scenario planning adapts military intelligence methods using social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends to generate simulation games for policymakers. Scenario planning is a strategic method used to create flexible long-term plans. It involves generating simulation games for policymakers by combining known facts like demographics and geography with military, political, and industrial information. Key driving forces are identified through social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends, forming the basis for developing alternative futures and strategies. Scenario planning is a strategic method for creating flexible long-term plans, adapted from military intelligence. It involves generating simulation games for policymakers, combining demographics, geography, and key driving forces like social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. Key stages include identifying critical factors, generating alternative futures, developing scenarios, and crafting scenario strategies. Scenario planning involves identifying critical factors, generating alternative futures, and developing scenarios. Analysts use simulation games, combining demographics, geography, and key driving forces like social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. This strategic method helps organizations create flexible long-term plans by considering various influencing factors and deriving indicators for alternative actions. Begin by specifying the question to guide scenario planning. Identify and analyze potential influencing factors, prioritizing them by relevance. Combine different versions of these factors to create scenarios. Conduct a consistency analysis to select scenarios for detailed study, including potential disruptions. Specify versions of influencing factors, derive indicators, and recommend alternative actions. This forms a procedural model for scenario analysis. Scenario planning and analysis involve identifying key influencing factors, creating scenarios by combining these factors, and analyzing their relevance. This process helps in deriving indicators and alternative actions. It is a strategic method used to make flexible long-term plans, integrating known facts with social, technical, economic, environmental, and political trends. Scenario planning involves creating flexible long-term strategies by simulating potential futures. It integrates demographics, geography, and resources with military, political, and industrial data. Analysts use steep trends, social, technical, economic, environmental, and political, to identify key driving forces, aiding policymakers in strategic decision-making. Scenario planning and analysis involve creating flexible long-term strategies by simulating various future scenarios. This method integrates known facts like demographics and geography with military, political, and industrial insights. By identifying key driving forces through social, technological, economic, environmental, and political trends, organizations can better prepare for potential changes and uncertainties in the future landscape. Scenario analysis predicts future investment values by evaluating changes in existing variables, focusing on how metrics shift under various scenarios. In contrast, sensitivity analysis examines how independent variable changes impact dependent variables, assessing metric movements under specific conditions. Both methods provide insights into potential financial outcomes, aiding strategic decision-making. Scenario analysis involves predicting future investment values by examining changes in existing variables, while sensitivity analysis evaluates how different independent variable values affect dependent variables. Both methods analyze metric movements under varying conditions, providing insights into potential outcomes and risks. These analyses are crucial for informed decision-making in financial planning and investment strategies. Evaluate and select alternatives by defining goals and identifying problems. Implement plans by comparing target and actual values, using deviation tests to assess impact. Scenario analysis involves forecasting situations with variables beyond control, while impact forecasts consider decision-influenced variables. This ensures informed decision-making and effective strategy implementation in modern finance. Scenario planning and analysis involve evaluating and selecting strategies, enforcing and implementing them, and comparing actual values with forecasts. It includes defining goals, identifying problems, and exploring alternatives. Impact forecasts consider variables influenced by decision makers, while situation forecasts focus on uncontrollable variables, providing insights into conditions and developments. Scenario planning in modern finance involves analyzing various markets, sales, procurement, capital, and labor, alongside economic, technological, legal, environmental, and sociocultural factors. Key economic indicators include labor force and government expenditure. Technological advancements impact production processes. Legal frameworks cover environmental and labor laws. Environmental considerations focus on resource availability, while sociocultural aspects address norms and education levels. Scenario planning and analysis involves evaluating economic, technological, legal, environmental, and sociocultural factors. These elements shape business environments, influencing labor, investments, and consumer behavior. By understanding these dynamics, companies can anticipate changes and adapt strategies effectively. This process helps in crafting narratives for potential future scenarios, guiding decision-making and strategic planning. Scenario planning involves crafting narratives to explore different futures. By analyzing variables and paths of change, we can develop possible scenarios. This approach helps in understanding potential impacts and preparing strategies. Each scenario offers a unique perspective, aiding in comprehensive decision-making for modern finance. Scenario planning and analysis in modern finance involves evaluating different perspectives and paths of change. By creating possible scenarios, we can develop stories that help anticipate future challenges and opportunities. This approach allows for strategic decision-making, ensuring organizations are better prepared for various financial outcomes. Scenario planning and analysis in modern finance involves evaluating potential outcomes through various scenarios. By examining scenarios A, B, and C, we can identify risks and opportunities, enabling strategic decision-making. This approach helps in understanding the impact of different variables on financial performance, ensuring preparedness for future uncertainties. Scenario planning involves analyzing potential future events by considering various scenarios like A, B, C, D, E, and F. This approach helps in understanding the impact of different variables on financial outcomes. The scenario funnel narrows down possibilities, focusing on present time, best case, and worst-case scenarios to guide strategic decision-making. Scenario planning and analysis in modern finance involves evaluating potential future outcomes through a scenario funnel. This process helps identify various scenarios, such as scenario A to F, by considering both positive and negative cases. It enables organizations to prepare for uncertainties and align their strategies with potential future developments. Scenario planning involves analyzing observable quantities and empirical data to forecast future possibilities. By examining past performance and identifying discontinuities, we develop scenario drivers. These drivers shape various scenarios, such as A through F, each representing different visions, utopias, and future plans. This approach helps in understanding potential outcomes and preparing strategic responses. Scenario planning involves analyzing observable quantities to predict future trends. By examining past performance and empirical data, we identify scenario drivers and potential discontinuities. This process helps create a scenario funnel, exploring visions, utopias, and future plans. Each scenario, from A to F, represents different potential futures, aiding strategic decision-making in modern finance. In scenario planning, we evaluate best-case and worst-case scenarios using a strategic funnel. This involves analyzing observable quantities and trends to identify potential disturbances. Decision points are crucial, guiding us through Scenario A and Scenario B. This approach ensures preparedness for various financial outcomes, enhancing strategic planning and analysis. Scenario planning involves analyzing potential future events to make informed decisions. By examining best-case and worst-case scenarios, organizations can strategically plan for various outcomes. Observable trends and disturbances guide decision points, helping to navigate through Scenario A and B. This approach ensures preparedness and adaptability in a dynamic financial landscape. Scenario planning involves analyzing long-term trends and short-term cases to position strategies effectively. The scenario funnel helps in visualizing potential futures, from best to worst cases. Intermediate-term disturbances and decision points guide adjustments, ensuring adaptability. Trend scenarios provide a framework for anticipating changes, aiding in strategic decision-making.
Our brains understand visual information 60,000 times faster than auditory information. Difficult business and financial concepts in a quick and easy visual format. Follow our content and learn visually about important topics for your personal financial life. You would use it in your business, in your family, in your life, in your job. Read calmly each slides and take your own time. Live knowledge come in with serenity. If necessary, stop and give a visual overview in each slide mind map. At the end of each journey, visual presentation will increase your knowledge and wisdom. We appreciate your subscribe, like, and share. It doesn't have costs, and you help others to learn and ourselves to do our job. Thank you, and go firmly do the end of the video.